All right, our first set of notes today for the prereq unit will cover PA and PB, which is absolute value and ordering integers. So the first thing that we need to do is define what an integer is. So an integer is just a positive or a negative whole number. It could also be 0. So it just can't be a decimal and it can't be a fraction. So some examples, just random numbers, 1, -5, 15, 0, things like that. Next is absolute value. So you have to understand an integer to understand absolute value. So the absolute value, you can kind of see over there to the right, we represent with 2 lines like this. And then your integer goes inside of that. And the absolute value is the number's distance from 0. And one thing about distance is that distance always has to be positive. So if I'm driving a car and I'm driving it forward 5 feet and I drive it backwards 5 feet, it's still 5 feet. It's not a negative 5 feet. So absolute value, if you want to make yourself a little note, will always be a positive number. Okay, so the absolute value of 7 is 7. The absolute value of -10 is positive 10. The absolute value of 320 is 320. And the absolute value of -1.6 is positive 1.6. And I have a number line up here to kind of show you. So if you wanted to do the first example there, the absolute value of 7, you would start at 7, and then you would count how many spaces away it is from 0, which that one's pretty easy, 7 spaces. Or we could do -10. And again, you're going to count how many spaces away it is from 0, which here it's 10 spaces. Now we're going to compare values using symbols. So we're going to be using our greater than, less than, and equal signs here. So when you're looking at your symbols, you want it to be kind of eating the bigger number. So this is going to be the bigger one. And then same thing this way. If you want to think of it as like Pac-Man or like a mouth, it should be eating the bigger number. So here, the absolute value of -6 is +6. So we're comparing +6 to +7. We want to eat the bigger one, so I'm going to make it like this. It's going towards the bigger one, opening towards the bigger one. Right here we have -12 and the absolute value of -12, which is +12. So the bigger one is actually going to be +12. All right, we have the absolute value of 5 and -5. So this would be +5, so that one is bigger. Then we have -15 and -12. So remember, with negative numbers, the smaller one is technically bigger. So I'm going to make it so that it's eating the 12, the -12. All right, now we're going to use that knowledge to order values. So the first thing I'm going to do is look through and see if there's any that I might want to write what it truly is. So for example, the absolute value of -9 is actually +9. And the absolute value of 6 is +6. So now I can order these all like regular numbers. And this, we are going to order from least to greatest. Make sure you check on your homework whether or not it says least to greatest or greatest to least. So we're going to start with the smallest number. So I'm looking at my negatives, and between my negatives, the smallest number is this one right here, not the absolute value one, because that's actually read as a positive one. So I'm going to start with -9. Then my next one is -2. Then I have 7, 6, and 9. So I'm first going to start with the absolute value of 6, because that's small. And then the next bigger one is 7. And then the absolute value of -9, because it's actually +9. And that is all for our first section of notes.